Hello, good morning. It's Ariel bringing you a review of the FTSE 100 and the rest of the European indices for the trading session as we're back on the 29th of December 2020. Not long to go before 2021, so wish everybody happy holidays and obviously a happy new year as well. Okay, just giving you a quick insight into today's trading, given the fact that we are certainly gapping higher. Will this gap higher last? Will it be sustained? That's the question. And be sure to visit obviously my website and obviously follow me on Twitter where I'm more active there. Okay, in terms of the FTSE 100 then, let's just quickly have a look, give you a backdrop. Basically, obviously we've got Brexit. The market certainly hasn't pushed high on the back of Brexit news, so a lot of the bullish news certainly seems to be baked in, especially looking at the reaction from GBP as well to a large extent. Okay, now we have had some obviously unprecedented news overnight. The $600 check in America is obviously potentially being talked about being raised to 2,000, although the upper house, even though they passed it, the lower house, the upper house certainly seems to be, in terms of the Republicans, certainly seem to be blocking that. And again, the market certainly seems to be euphoric based on that. And again, low volume certainly is helping the upside. But from my perspective, given the fact that we've had the Brexit news, okay, it'll be interesting to see in terms of the FTSE if it can break above 6,640 and actually push higher. It seems very, very hard given the fact that obviously the COVID cases have started to rise. We've got record numbers in the UK, in Germany as well, in America as well. There have been concerns regarding this vaccine now. Apparently there's a lot of allergic reactions, and given the actual insight from medics and also frontline, a lot of the individuals in Europe are certainly hesitant to take it and certainly don't want to be guinea pigs with regards to this potential vaccine that seems to have been rushed. Although obviously the counter argument is that the infrastructure was already there in terms of RNA, and again, I'm not going to go into the medical aspect of it. Again, you have to do your own research, your own understanding. It certainly seems from my perspective that it's very, very rushed, and the analysis and insight it certainly seems to be one-sided from what I can see. And again, that's economically motivated given the fact that they want to start the economies and sheer amount of debt that they've taken on. I mean, just look at the American obviously market or American politics. I mean, $2,000 for each individual. Who's going to pay for that in the long run? I mean, that is just economic suicide at the moment, but unfortunately to a large extent one would argue that it needs to be done. But again, I'm not going to get into the politics of that because again the arguments for and against are quite strong as well. Okay, so let's get back to the market. So daily chart, this is what we care about, folks. This is what we're going to be trading today. Now I've actually taken a short on the FTSE here around the 6580 zone. I'm looking for a potential move lower given the fact that, and I'm certainly not expecting a potential break above 6640. Again, I could be wrong. The market could get very euphoric. Obviously it is low volume as well, just bear that in mind. And the market certainly could break higher. Again, that certainly is plausible, and it is quite a high risk trade given the obviously backdrop. But I'm certainly expecting the Brexit scenario to be baked in, and I'm certainly expecting the actual bullish news from obviously a $2,000 check overnight certainly to be baked in as well to a large extent. In terms of the Aussie itself, again from my perspective, certainly looking for the Aussie to potentially be coming, well, certainly remains weak, certainly isn't pushing higher or breaking above that zone. So Aussie and Kiwi are usually two indices that I look into. In terms of copper as well, let's just have a look. In terms of the commodities, certainly a potential topping tail reversal there. Quickly bring up the chart of copper. Okay, copper certainly hasn't pushed higher at the back of that $2,000 check, so certainly not exactly overtly bullish. Had copper been making new highs, and obviously one would certainly consider in terms of that. Okay, again, oil prices haven't exactly made new highs. The pivot high remains 52 after we've attempted to close the gap at 53. And one would argue, from my perspective anyway, the bullish news certainly is baked in terms of all this so-called stimulus. Okay, in terms of the FTSE 250 daily chart, yes, one would argue, given the fact that Brexit scenario certainly has been negated, the FTSE 250 certainly seems to be bullish at present. But again, bearing in mind the GBP strength certainly will cap that to a large extent. Okay, so going back to the FTSE, you've got resistance at 6600. That would be a key. We're currently around the 6590 zone anyway, so again looking for that potential to hold. In terms of European markets, very, very impressive. I mean, German DAX certainly is at double top. That's one of the reasons why I'm actually short the FTSE. Certainly looking for that German double DAX double top to hold, given the fact that the COVID restrictions certainly are remaining, and their situation certainly seems to be spiraling out of control as well. In terms of the French CAC as well, looking for resistance here. Okay, so again, key resistance around this 5-600 zone, hence the reason why I'm short the FTSE based on the French CAC and the German DAX as well. In terms of European indices, Eurostoxx 50 should I say, very, very, very impressive thrust in the Eurostoxx 50. I didn't expect that gap fill to be broken. I certainly expected that to be held, and obviously looking for a lower low. But again, we're going back into that gap fill resistance at 3580, and then obviously you've got previous support equals resistance at 3610. So again, interesting scenario in terms of Eurostoxx. Can we break above that pivot high at 3590? That's the question. Okay, given the fact that obviously these COVID cases certainly are out of control at present, and given the fact that this vaccine certainly is there, but again, this mutated obviously strand, can we combat that? There have been some news that they potentially can, but again, no confirmation as of yet. Okay, so markets certainly are trading very, very euphoric, and again, the low volume in terms of this Christmas season certainly does support that to a large extent. But I'm certainly taking or putting my neck out on the line here, looking for a potential reversal, given the fact that buy the rumor, sell the news type event. Okay, and again, stop losses are in, and we shall certainly find out in terms of the outcome. Be sure to visit Intermarket Analysis, obviously, and follow me on Twitter. Take care. Goodbye.